Hello, 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 Chicago Bears fans. Welcome to the Bears Den podcast, number 48.
Mm.
Hard to believe we're 48 shows old. But anyway, welcome to tonight's show. I am your host, Andy, and tonight we will be discussing what else? The NFL draft, and the NFL draft. So if you are liking us, please follow us, subscribe to us, tell all your friends, families, and fellow Chicago Bears fans all about us. You can find us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So without further ado, let me bring out the real stars of the show, the rock star Todd and the megastar Chicago Clarence, the bad guy. So guys, how are we doing? Good,
doing,
bad?
doing good.
I'm feeling better than I was last week. All this pollen's washed away at least.
I definitely can say the same thing. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not in that text, but Duke getting beat in the Final Four definitely brightened my day.
That didn't take long.
I thought he was going to save that to his pissed off segment. He's bringing it right out. So anything, I mean, Chicago Clarence, you're the only basketball fan here. Anything else, anything you want to quickly say about the NCAA tournament in general?
I think that I think the masses at the NCAA tournament, those guys are very happy with how things turned out. The betting favorite was that Duke was going to win it, and then I think Florida would have been a close second, and they're the ones who ended up cutting down the nets. But they're enthralled in a court case right now, with name, image, and likeness, and on the cusp of a $2.8 billion settlement.
Mm.
So it's going to be a bunch of people out with their hands out waiting to get their cut of that money.
I mean, I watched the game Saturday night. I was surprised to see Duke melt down like that. You wouldn't think that from a Duke team, but anyway, on to our team, the Chicago Bears. So guys, Case Keenum got signed. Does that mean anything? Nothing? A lot? Does it mean Tyson Bagent needs to be looking for a job? Todd, does it mean anything at all? Or is it just like Brett Rippon last year?
Yeah,
Thank you, but see ya.
It means you got a lot of guy with experience in the room to talk to the young guys. I don't think I can't see him. He's not going to replace Bajan as the number 2. If it were a crucial game and maybe if we make the playoffs and something happens midway through a game, do you go that way for experience? Maybe, but I think he's just there to bring experience to the room more than anything.
Yeah, I agree. Clarence, what do you think of the Case Keenum signing?
Yeah, this is one of those rare occasions where I agree with both of you guys. I think that he's just in there just to give some experience to the room.
Yes.
Somebody to be in Caleb's ear to help him through. I don't know if Case has ever ran a variation of this offense that Ben Johnson's going to be putting out, and I would look to that more than anything as somebody that pretty much knows the offense, knows the concepts, and can help teach it to Caleb.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think it means much. I think it means like Brett Rippon last year. Thank you very much, but see ya. So on to Garon Dexter. He reported to camp today, or OTAs, very, very light. They're already talking that he's going to be the defensive end. So, Todd, do we definitely have to go DT in this draft?
Yeah, and this is the draft to do it in. I mean, it's deep. There's quality guys in the 5th round, 6th round in this that could come in and be solid rotation players. And I think, I think that's a great thing. He's a pass rusher primarily anyway from the interior. He was not really a run stopper. So, I was surprised by it. Apparently, we talked about it recently, and I missed it. So anyway, I was surprised when I seen the photos this morning. So, but I'm happy about it.
Chicago Clarence, what are your thoughts on Dexter at defensive end?
Well, it's just another example of Chicago Clarence dropping knowledge on the masses because I called this.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. And I just think that with the kind of defense that Dennis Allen was wanting to run, and guys, we know none of us was in love. Well, maybe Andy, but me and Todd definitely wasn't in love with Dexter playing in it. I didn't think he was a three technique. No way. He never impressed me being there. He had his moments, but you gotta have a monster in there. You gotta have a guy that can clog things up, wreak havoc. That's what they got when they signed Jarrett. Now I know Jarrett's on the other side of 30. I get that. But
Mm-hmm.
we all know that he's a stopgap to somebody else, which is the question that you're asking now. Are we going to sign a defensive tackle? And then Todd is right. This is the draft to do it in. But we need somebody right now because the time for winning is now. We
Yeah.
ain't got time to be pussyfooting around no more. The time for winning is now. Poles knows his job was definitely in question. Now he ended up keeping it, but there was some talk about letting him go. You have got to draft better than how he had been drafted, and putting Dexter out there on that end, I think is a better move. I think that it was something that we couldn't afford to do when we got him. We had to put him in there, but I think this is the right move. And he don't have to even be the guy out there. There's other people on this roster to help. I mean,
Right.
I think we still should be looking for another edge rusher in this draft as well.
Yeah, I think we'll draft an edge rusher too. But no, I think that as far as Grady Jarrett goes, if you limit those snaps, the
Yes.
obvious passing, you're going to get the best out of him. If you put him out there for 40, 45 plays, it's just too much. But if you
Yeah,
if you can put him out there for 20 plays, 20, 25
yeah,
plays, you're going to get the best out of him, and it's really
yeah.
going to make a difference.
So with that being, I mean, we also tender Chris Williams. He signed his contract today. So right now we would have Jarrett, Billings, and who's our third one? And Jarrett, Dexter. No, I'm sorry. Billings, Jarrett, and Williams is our defensive tackles.
And we still have Pickens under contract,
Yes,
but
him
I
being a
don't.
healthy scratch, I can't see him.
Yeah, I don't know that he makes this roster.
Well, that was under last year's regime. This year's regime could be different. So defensive end, we would have Booker, Sweat, Dexter, and Deo. That's our four defensive end. I don't see Dom Robinson making this team, but he was a healthy scratch a lot last year. But it's also a new regime.
Yeah.
So guys, go ahead, Todd.
I just think they add at least one, maybe two guys to that, and it's gonna change that up a little bit. Get young, fresh legs, and then with Jared as leadership and Sweat as leadership, I think it can be so much improved. It can go from being the weakest spot of the team to a plus position for us on the defensive line.
Clarence, anything you want to add to that?
No, once again, Todd is speaking some knowledge this week. I love it. He definitely, you can tell he's definitely been listening to a lot of me. So, but he's absolutely right. I mean, I don't see Pickens and Robinson had better have their bats packed. When you get to training camp, let me just give you some word of advice. Don't impact because your time here could be very, very short. But, guys, they had their shot.
Yeah, they
Pickens,
did.
Ryan Poles did not want to be wrong with him.
Right.
He had every opportunity to show this team, to show this organization what he was made of. And one thing they have proven is if you go in there and perform, they will pay you.
Yeah.
So he had his opportunities.
Mhm.
Now you're just gonna have to hope that you can catch on with another team, or he better get in the training camp and OTAs and start showing some stuff, or his ass is out of here.
Yeah, I mean, this one's on Poles. I mean, was he fourth, fifth round? I mean, it's
He traded up to get him too.
Yeah,
Pickens.
that doesn't look good on Poles, but
No, sir.
you're not going to hit 100%. It's not going to work out. So for all the time, but him and Tyler Scott's almost the same boat on the other side there. So
Yes, I agree with that. So guys, in case you didn't hear it, Mel Kiper's latest mock draft came out today. And we're not going to go through everyone because we're just Bears fans on this show. But here's his first 7. I'm not going to go through them. I'll leave them up here for a second. But most interesting thing maybe is at number 10, he has us taking Tyler Warren. I know last week we discussed that, and some of us said, yeah, we would take him at 10. Some would not. So let me ask you guys again. Mel Kiper knows what he's doing more so than we do. Todd, do you like Tyler Warren at 10?
I do. He's of the 4 or 5 guys that I like in the top 10 that that obviously aren't the quarterbacks or the first guys we're not going to get a shot at. He's my last guy. I'm comfortable taking him at 10. Everybody else I want to move back for, and I think I prefer to move back. But if we can't get a trade partner that's acceptable, yeah, I think he can add something to the offense. I'd be happy with that.
So Chicago Clarence, let me ask you that. And we also see the guy we thought we would take at 10 last week. We all targeted Will Campbell. Yes, him going really early, 4th to the Patriots. So Chicago Clarence, can you get on board with us taking Warren at 10?
I cannot. Taking Warren at 10 is just like going shopping for a Lamborghini and you make a Toyota Camry salary. It ain't nothing but a shiny toy when you have other needs. And I love Tyler Warren. Don't get me wrong. I love him. I think having him in this offense with Ben Johnson calling plays will absolutely be death. But we have too many other needs. The smart play is to trade back and try to amass picks to it. We just got through talking about 2 needs that we definitely have.
Yes.
We need a 3 technique. We need an edge rusher. We need a future guard. Because if we're not getting Will Campbell, the clock is ticking on our offensive line. If you look on our offensive and defensive line as a whole, we got a bunch of guys 30 over. So we have got to get some depth at those positions. And like I said before, I love Tyler Warren, but it ain't but 2 guys. It ain't but 2 guys in this draft that I'm taking at 10. And we both know, well, all 3 of us know that they're not going to be there when we pick. That's Hunter and that's Carter. Anybody else, I'm trading that pick.
Right, but that's easier said than done, and everybody knows that there's only 3 or 4 blue chip guys in this draft, and so I mean, if the offer is a 4th rounder to move back 7 or 8 spots, then I'm going to roll the dice on Warren because he can be special. He certainly can be well above average tight end. So I don't know that there's going to be an offer that if I can get a mid second round pick to move back, then I'll do that. But I don't know that that's going to happen. I think if Shador falls and it doesn't end up at
he has him projected tonight to the Saints now.
Yeah, and hopefully that happens. Hopefully he goes sooner than that because I think that they might even gamble at quarterback on 9 and make a big reach. Every person that goes ahead of us, improves our situation. So I actually hope he goes before that. But I think the Panthers hold the cards there being ahead of the Saints. If I'm them, I'm looking to trade down there if somebody wants to move and get ahead of the Saints if that scenario plays out. But I think we're just on the wrong side of that. And I just, if it's a pick around 75, 80, 100, something like that is what the offer is, I'd probably I'd roll the dice on a playmaker in Warren.
Yeah, everything depends on what we can get for moving back. Sure. I mean, that was just saying, I'm just saying that's my first option.
Sure.
I'm listening to offers. And of course, we got to have one that we like. Now, if we don't get anything that's going to improve our stance, then for sure, I would take Tyler Warren all day because I think he's better than the tight end we got right now.
Right. And as far as like the interior defensive line, like even in this Kuiper draft, I was blown away with what he came with in the second round. If we can get one of those, there's 2 quality defensive interior guys that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
If we can get one of those guys and that solves that problem, I would honestly, if I'm trading back to the 20s, I would roll the dice on the left tackle. We talked about this last week, but even injured, I would take
Josh Simmons.
I would take Simmons all day.
I think he's a real left tackle, and I want a cheap left tackle for the next 4 or 5 years. That's what I want.
Him.
Yeah, to the Chiefs all the way
at 31 because of his injury, his shoulder.
Of course. Yeah, and I don't think there's any chance he gets by the Chiefs, and I'm sure the Eagles don't make those mistakes. They would take him. I think the Texans at 25 would be a real solid play too because they need somebody. But and even if he misses the whole year, hopefully he doesn't miss the whole year. But even because I'd like to move on from Braxton and get him some playing time during the season, but. That's all pipe dream. But as far as we need depth at guard and younger guards. There's guys. deeper in the draft, and there's always guards.
Mm-hmm.
The key is to take these third and fourth round guards and actually develop them, which is something we never do.
No.
We never do, and that's what we have to do.
So second round, Mel Kiper has us going with Walter Nolan, who we talked about last week, and we all argued this guy is never going to drop. No way.
Yeah.
There's no way we're going to be able to draft Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, Ole Miss at 39. And Todd, I know you, Clarence, would you draft Walter Nolan? I know Todd already said he would run up there with the draft card.
Of course, at 39, of course.
Chicago, Clarence, would you?
I'm not. I wouldn't run up there with the draft card for him. I would text that draft pick in.
Yeah.
You know,
But
I'm not even getting up from my seat.
me-
I love him.
Let me ask you
I
something.
love him.
He has Kenneth Grant slated to go 43. If
Yeah.
you have your option at both of them at 39, which one are you taking, Todd?
I have Grant ahead of him. I have Grant at 15 to 18 to 20, and I have Nolan just a few spots below them. But they're equal, and honestly, they're two different players. Grant's 330-pound run stuffer that has some he can penetrate to a certain degree, but Nolan's game is penetration. Nolan is what Dexter should have been from the defensive tackle, but he's lighter. He's 305, 310, something like that. But that's the guy that we thought we would get or wanted to get out of that. But I mean, I don't think there's any way that we take two defensive tackles.
I would
back to back. I mean, he has obviously, and I'm jumping ahead of you here at 41, Travion Henderson. I think one of these three picks is going to be a running back, and Henderson at 41 makes the most sense because at 10 it would have to be Genty, and I don't think there's any chance that Hampton makes it to 39. So it kind of leaves you with Henderson at 41, and I'm okay with that.
Chicago, Clarence, I know you were high on Hampton, but he's projected to go 12th. Would you take the card up to the commissioner for Anderson at 41? Can you get on board with that pick?
Let me go back to something that we just talked about the last segment. Let me kind of change something what I was going to say. If we can't trade back, if we cannot trade back, and we have to make a selection at 10, I have no problem with them taking Hampton at 10. Hampton has 10, talent. And I know you don't watch a lot of college football, but he was clearly the best player on a team with the North Carolina Tar Heels. He was their best player, and it wasn't even close. I mean, you just got to think about it. That guy scored on everybody they played. He ran the ball, and he runs with a purpose. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can pass protect as well. He is a haul, and I promise you, if he's there and when the Dallas Cowboys select that 12, he's going to Texas. Promise you. But if we can't trade back, if you asking me who would I rather have between him and Warren, I'm taking Hampton all day.
Yeah.
Todd, would you be that bold? Take Hampton over Warren?
I could see them do that. They act like that. There was some talk this last week about their interest in Warren and talking him up. The problem is we're so close to the draft now that you can't believe anything, right?
No,
this
can't.
Is what the smoke is. The smoke is starting to rise now, and it's just going to get thicker and thicker. I think that the running back room is worse than the tight end room, and I think that the Warren pick can be considered cocky. That's kind of where we were last time we talked about it as, hey, but it's just, if this were a normal, I'm going to get a top 10 trench player draft, that isn't what this draft is. I mean, Campbell's small arm length. There's all these questions there. Membu's a right tackle. I don't think he's going to be a left tackle. So then Simmons is the guy, and he's hurt. So then you're down in the 20s or at 20, and there's just nobody else right there. So you can be cocky-ish or smart and take one. But if they feel like they need and they do need the running back more than they need the tight end, well, no, we do. I think I mean, Swift has one more year.
Well, let me ask you guys.
He's not a long-term answer. We're not bringing him back. We're not paying him again.
Let me ask you guys something. Isn't the running game already better because we have an actual offensive line? Last year we couldn't open up a hole to drive a Kenworth through.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's-
isn't our
but
offensive line
Swift,
better?
Swift's not that guy.
I know that.
Yeah, you want a guy that can
Yeah.
run between the tackles. Swift is not him.
Right.
He doesn't have great vision.
Right.
So, Hampton fits the
Hampton is.
bill. He's a 3-down running back. Swift is not.
And also, you're talking about him delivering every week for Carolina. They didn't have anything else. The defense knew that was what was going to be, and
still couldn't stop him.
1,600 yards. Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's impressive. So there's guys that say Genty, but there's a lot of guys out there that like they're this. There's not this gap. It's 1 and 1A, and I can see Johnson feeling that way. So.
And Louis Medina, yeah, you're right. We are just guessing. Everybody's just guessing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all smoke and mirrors right now. We have no clue. I mean, we're just talking about Mel Kiper, who he projects to go where.
Yeah, some of that's crazy.
Yeah,
his second round is surprising.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a fall for Grant.
Yeah,
I mean that's quite a fall. He was projected in the top. He has him at 43.
I've seen him at 11 to the 49ers. I mean, that's one spot behind us. That's a,
I mean, and now Jalen Milroe, he has projected at 34. That's quite a. And now Tyler Shaw at 33. That's quite a leap. Like,
yeah, and that doesn't make sense because if you're gonna jump in and do that, you want to do it a pick or two before that to get the 5th-year option. That doesn't make much sense to me. The Eagles and the Chiefs would be happy to trade back a few spots to pick up something because they're not going to take quarterback.
But I'm going to tell you something that I really don't understand, and it really doesn't have anything to do with our team, but this just really perplexes me. The Giants ownership told Brian Daboll and the general manager that they got to win this year. Their jobs is on the line, especially after the Saquon Barkley fiasco. All of that tape and stuff was released with him telling him he was going to have a hard time sleeping if he went to the Philadelphia Eagles. And not only did he go to the Eagles, but you could have made a case for Barkley for the MVP this year, and they win the damn Super Bowl. Yeah. So, that was a really bad look on the brass. And if Saquon hadn't gone to the Giants, it's a pretty good chance he would went to the Bears. So at the end of the day, they got to win. How in God's name are you not talking about quarterback play at 3? Why are you talking about drafting a pass rusher when you got so many other needs on the offensive side of the ball? There's no way I'm not taking a quarterback. And I don't give a damn if it's Shadur or Cam. One of those guys is going to be getting their name called if I'm the New York Giants. Or some people's even talking about they may even swing long for the fences and get Jackson Dart, which Jackson Dart is a hell of a throw. He's a gunslinger, but he ain't no slouch. But I don't understand how you're not picking quarterback at 3.
Let me ask, how are the Browns not picking a quarterback at 2? They have nobody. Deshaun Watson most likely is not going to play this year. He tore the MCL that he just had surgery on. How are they not picking a quarterback at 2?
Yeah, you just got to eat that money and just take your losses.
You're going to eat it no matter what now. You've eaten it already. He's never played up to his contract. They've eaten it already.
You guys don't think Kenny Pickett's just going to step in there and take over?
I mean, he could. It's happened before that these kids finally get a chance and they I mean it's happened. It's not like it's never ever happened.
I don't
he wasn't going to play in front of Jalen Hurts last year.
Yeah, I think they're looking at the 2026 quarterbacks and they're going to be tanking out of the gate, and if they end up with any veteran, it's probably Kirk Cousins.
But you just turned around and gave all that money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just paid all that money
Myles Garrett.
To Myles Garrett. So what are you investing in? If you wasn't trying to, reload or tear it all down, why in God's name would you give all that money to Myles Garrett when you could have traded him and got picks and still tank? Mm-hmm. Who is running that damn show over there? What are you doing?
I think, look, they're used to being disappointed. They can be sold on wait another year, and they can get a quality player, whether it's Hunter or Carter, either one. They line up Carter and Garrett together, that's enough to hold a fan base for a while. And See what
But
they
you're
can
still
do
going to
next
lose because you've got nobody to throw the
No,
damn
no,
ball.
they intend to lose. They want to be in the running for whoever's going to be number one next year when it's a better class. I mean, that's terrible. But we tanked
Yeah.
for a while too. I understand that.
Yeah, I'm surprised I don't see the Browns or Giants make a play at Shador if Cam goes number one.
I would love 3 quarterbacks to go in the top 10.
Oh yeah.
If Dart can go to the Saints are in. They're always in cap hell. They can get off a car next year. They'll have a cheap quarterback. It solves a lot of their problems. They like to roll the dice, but that just helps us out. If we get 3 quarterbacks ahead of our pick, then we have more options. If we have more options, then maybe we have a more attractive trade down.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wish this was last year's draft with 5 quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
like that would be ideal. So Todd, on to the third round. We discussed the first and second round last week. So Todd, third round, pick number 72. Your defensive player. Who would you choose? You had to choose so many at 72.
I had too many of them on my list. My defensive player at 72. I like. It depends. That Oladejo, UCLA player, I had him on my list. He's a riser on the consensus Atlantic board. He's gone from 94 to 78. But I think that Mel had him at 35.
Yeah,
that's moving up a lot of spots. He can get pressure. I like Kevin Winston at safety. I think we have a need there. He had a really good 2023 season. He was hurt last year. He probably would have been a first-round pick if he would have maintained his 2024 season as to what he did in 2023. So probably one of those 2 guys defensively is the way I would go.
Todd, Chicago Clarence, who's your guy at number 72, defensive player?
I'm not even so sure that I'm taking defense. It all depends on what I did with the first.
Right.
Yes, it does.
Flying blind here.
I've been on record. I like Ibuke from Ohio State.
Yeah.
Somebody who could stretch the field, somebody who's a proven route runner, who's got good hands. We already know Tyler Scott can't catch a cold.
Yeah.
And I know they went and got the guy from out of Washington. I can't remember his name at the moment, but
Zacharias, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Zacharias.
Go ahead. He could be a good pick.
He could be, but this is his 4th team.
Yeah.
We need to be trying to build up stability and get people to be afraid of this offense. It's just not going to cut it with just DJ Moore and my other guy,
Rome Odunze.
It's just Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet has just always been a disappointment for me. I know we paid him. He's a big body. He has a Greek god body. But he just doesn't know how to play behind his pads, and it's just too many times to where he disappears for us. And I don't really think that he's got the best of hands either. So I want another weapon on that offense. And at 72, if Ibuke's there, I'm calling his name.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, I would be in favor of that.
So I have for defense. Me and Todd discussed this right before clearance logged on. Deion Walker, who is kind of a he's either going to be a boom or a bust.
Yeah.
He's listed now. I wrote down he's listed at 6'6", 348. He's more of a Andrew Billings type body, but he does have bursts to get up the field.
He's Billings plus 40 pounds.
So yeah. Arthur Williams said, I disagree with that one. Which one in particular? Me, Arthur, which is fine. We're not always going to agree. And I also have written down Jared Ivory. I talked about him on the CNG podcast. He's 6'6", 274. He's a big guy. He's one of the guys that they could put inside and outside.
Is that the guy that spent all last year on the back of a milk carton?
No. That was so Arthur likes Cole Kmet. So he did. Whoa. You can't disagree with Chicago Clarence on this show.
Yeah, because you would be wrong.
So Arthur, we definitely need you to take you the invitation, come on the show one day. That would be interesting. I mean,
Somebody remind Arthur that who's usually right.
And then the other kid I got written down is the other edge, opposite of Jared Ivory, is the Princely. I can't say
Uman Mielen, Princely
Yes.
Uman Mielen. Yeah, I don't know that he makes it to 72. He's got he might. He's around that 65 area, so he's certainly in the range as far as the consensus list.
Is he from UCLA?
No,
He
those
is
are
from
both
Ole Miss.
Both of those guys. I mean, you think about Ole Miss's defense. You know why they did well this year. They got Princely, Jared, and then Walter Nolan, who are all projected to go in the top 3 rounds of the draft.
So then that goes back to, are they all good, or do they all kind of lean on each other? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's funny. Like we talk about the Michigan
Kenneth
guys.
Grant and yes, Graham,
Yeah.
which
And
is
it's
the better one.
It's like is Mason Graham that great, or with some of that Kenneth Grant, right? So it's
the other way around, for all we know.
For sure.
Could be the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So any other names you guys want to throw out there in the 3rd round?
I like Walker from Georgia too.
Yeah, well, he'll be long gone. There's a couple offensive linemen that are projected in there that I think you could do something with. Jonas Evan, yeah, he played tackle, but he's going to kick inside. He's probably a guard. He could play center in a pinch. Who else you got?
What about the running back from Arizona State that's projected to go in the 3rd round?
Yeah, Scadaboo should be right in that range. We're really rolling the dice if we wait that long, but that could be. Look, Deion Walker has all the tools in the world. Could be a first rounder, but probably 80% bust, 20% boom, and Scadaboo. Nobody plays with more heart than that kid. So you want him on your roster. I don't want to pick 2 running backs in the first 4 picks.
See, I don't.
But I wouldn't mind picking 2 running backs. I mean, I would at this point, I would almost level that room, right? I mean, looking at it, and I don't know about Roshan. We'll see what happens. This is a big year for him, but
yeah, it is.
If you look at that, because Swift, we're not going to resign Swift, so we've got to do a lot in that room, and we every year it seems like we have a new catchphrase or a new something, and I usually hate them. I didn't like the whole RAR stuff, and and I didn't like any of that hits principle stuff. But this Bieniemy thing, no blocky, no rocky. I love that.
Yes.
I want the receivers blocking. If you can't block, you're not going to play running back, supposedly in the system. I want that all day long. So bring me in 5 running backs that can block. I'm happy with that.
The reason I take Scatterbo is because with A, we need another running back, and B, he's the exact opposite of Swift, which seems to be Ben Johnson's MO, because Montgomery and Gibbs were the exact opposite in Detroit. And he supposedly pounded the table to draft Gibbs despite having Montgomery.
Yeah.
But I personally don't take a running back till much later. And I can see we disagree on that one, because this is supposedly a very deep running back class, like probably 45. I read
30
45.
guys get drafted. Yeah, and there's every type. I mean, there's lightning fast guys, light guys. There's big bruisers.
Power.
There's everything. Power. Yeah, I think we could probably use a gadget guy too. I'm not opposed to that.
Is power, and he can receive. Like, he's a much better receiver than anybody thinks he is.
But would you use a pick on him though? Because Todd said before, we need help at safety, and
that's why I don't take a run. I personally, I'm not talking for you guys. Me, because this was such a deep running back room, I don't take a running back till much later. I might not take one at all. I might sign a free agent running back, rookie free agent. I mean, we signed Ian Wheeler last year. I know he didn't make the roster, but he was probably going to.
He made the roster by default.
Yeah, and Herbert was probably going to get cut. If Wheeler wouldn't have got hurt, he would have probably made the roster, and Herbert probably would have been packing last year.
You could have made it. You could have made a point. You could have made a point, an argument for Wheeler. I mean, I actually did like him, but everything that we do in the later rounds is going to be predicated by what we do.
For sure.
At pick 10, and we're kind of in a quandary there, because no, who you going to take this that you're going to be happy with? I
Right.
think that number 10 is going to say a lot about what kind of power Ben Johnson wields.
Right.
Because if we take somebody at 10 like Tyler Warren, to me that's a Ben Johnson pick.
Right.
I think we could do it.
Yeah. I think that I I'm closer to saying for sure we take for sure in the first 4 picks we're taking it back and it's going to be a feature back for us. And I think maybe we get 2 7ths. We may take a flyer on one there. I mean, that's so close to being a priority free agent. Maybe you don't, but I could see I'm closer to drafting 2 backs than no backs. That's for sure.
Let me ask you guys something. At number 10, if Genty and Warren is on the board, who do you think the Bears would take right there?
Genty.
At
Genty.
100%. I think if I think they would consider moving up a couple of spots to take Genty, which I'm against. But
Yeah,
I'm
against
definitely
that too.
against.
That's how much I think they're enamored with Genty that I think that they would talk to Carolina about getting to 8. But I still think he's probably gone. He could go anywhere. He really could go anywhere from New England to
Let's look at the running back
to the
room.
Saints. That's
Yeah, New England is not moving off Campbell. They got to protect Drake May.
Yeah.
There's no way they don't take a lineman.
I think if both of if both Hunter and Carter are gone, they're doing anything in the world to get out of that pick at 4. And if somebody further down the line, the Broncos or the Cowboys, if they want to secure Genty, they're going to have to go up there to get it, and they should get a lot in return for it. The Patriots, and they need a lot. So I would look for. I'd look for a trade at 4. I would look for a trade at 8. If those 2 teams are smart,
I would look for a trade at 4 if Sanders is still on the board. Mm-hmm. Somebody that really wants Sanders, I would look for a trade at 4 to make sure they get him.
I think 4 probably somebody coming up for Genty, but I think at 8 somebody coming up to get Sanders in front of the Saints makes all the sense in the world to me. And yeah, I mean I think so. But the most with as far as Genty, he almost goes to the Raiders almost every time now.
Yeah, he does.
Everyone I see.
Yes,
constantly.
He does. So Todd, number 5, pick 5, 148 for us. Yes. Who you taking?
Oh, let me look here. Hang on.
So I'll go first. I have a safety going.
Marquise. Who do you like?
Marquise Siegel, safety, Kansas State.
Who?
And I also have, and that's where this is the first time I have running back written down. I take Trevor Etienne from Georgia.
Yeah.
And then I also have 2 offensive linemen written down, Jalen Thomas from Iowa State and Tate Rutledge from Georgia. Inside offensive lineman.
Yeah, I like Rutledge a lot. I think
I do too.
As high as 72. I think he's going to be a 10-year player at guard. As far as safeties, I don't love anybody right there. RJ Mickens could be there. He's 4th, 5th rounder. He's an interesting. I think I would roll the dice on maybe a priority free agent safety if I wait that long. But just overall in that 152 range, Shamar Turner's A&M guy. He's a defensive interior guy. He's a little light at 290, but he looks good. There's a couple of receivers. Deontay Thornton's a Tennessee, real limited route tree, but he's big and he's pretty fast. He projects out of 5th round. I like him. Running back Taj Brooks is a bruiser at 230 if we don't take one before then. There's a lot of guys. I think that's where the smart money is on the defensive line. I love it. There's a nose tackle out of South Carolina, Tonka Hemingway.
Yes,
big fan of that kid. He could be a true 5-tech. He's 295. He gets a lot of pressure. If he's there, I'd jump on that too. So.
Chicago Clarence, anybody in round 5 you absolutely love?
Yeah, safety for Notre Dame, Xavier Watts.
Yeah, we're talking about him at 41. So I mean, I probably would be okay with that. Yeah, but yeah,
safety. I would
not. You've watched it. Is he as good as they're saying he is?
Yeah, he absolutely is. He's a ball hawk. He's somebody that will take the ball away. And if you happen to catch the ball and he's in the zone, he's trying to get the ball out. and he can also play in the box. And we already have these issues with Brisker. You could plug him right in.
Mm,
In Brisker's spot right now, and I think that he could produce, and he could produce at a high level, and he makes defensive calls, and
yeah.
that's something to be said for a safety making defensive calls.
Yeah,
So
right now he's everybody's third safety, and it's everybody who doesn't want to invest high in a safety. They're like, well, we can grab him in the late second or whatever. That's our guy, and it's pushing him higher and higher. Every team that says it, and we're high in second round, and it's a legitimate play for us. So,
and he even left school early.
yeah.
It wasn't even a senior. He left school early because of the year that he just had. I think he had like 8 interceptions, something like that, this past year. The dude was a ball hawk for real, and that's something that we need, especially
Yes.
we always want to try to take the ball away. Chicago defenses have always preached that over the years, and this dude fits right in. He reminds me a lot of Mike Brown, a lot of
Yeah.
Mike Brown
Mike Brown was a very good player.
when
a
he was
very,
healthy.
very good player
when
for
he
us.
was healthy.
Yes. I was a big Mike Brown fan too. I thought he was a very good player for us.
Oh, we don't go to Super Bowl in 2009 without Mike Brown. Tell you that right now.
Those guys take a beating, especially back then when you
Yes.
when you went helmet to helmet all the time, and you always led with your head. Those were the guys that were the thumpers, and they were always the ones that were subject to getting hurt. But yeah, I'd be pretty pleased with Watts.
I would too. I would definitely grab him if I could, because I think he's a very good player too. But I don't think
Especially
he's
if we can deal back, if we can come off a 10 and we can get something in that late second, mid second, that's the guy.
So Todd, anything else you want to say about rounds 3 to 5 before we sign off tonight?
No, I wish we had 20 picks in round 3 to 5, but they'd all want paid in 4 years, and we'd be in trouble. So we can't do that.
So with that, Todd, what are your final thoughts about our Chicago Bears or anything in general before we sign off tonight?
This is usually when we switch it up, and this is our 60 seconds of Cub talk that kills Clarence. So it was pretty bad today. I don't know if you saw the contract with Guerrero in Toronto, but that was kind of the Tucker. Let's look at that and see what happens there, and that pushed over 500 million, and I just. The Cubs won't do it, and they need to, because this kid's a good player. They gave up quality talent to go get him as a 1-year rental, and I think that they were looking more in the super chip 300 million range. So, but I know that's going to be aggravating. So I'm preparing to be very upset about that. But yeah, that's it. That's what I'm mad about today.
Yes, sir, Arthur. Go Bears. So let me ask you guys something. This is off the subject. Should baseball have a salary cap? Chicago Clarence, yes or no?
Yes.
Todd?
Well, you'd like to think owners could have some self-control, wouldn't you? But obviously they can't. So, the tax is there for a reason, but some of these guys have so much money and make so much money that it doesn't matter. I mean, it's the haves and the have-nots for sure. I guess they should.
You just said it though. I'm sorry, Andy, but you just said it, because if you want your sport to be successful, it would seem to me that you would try to make the playing field as even as possible. Right. When you got the New York Yankees playing on their own damn network, the Los Angeles Dodgers playing on their own damn network.
So do we. We're not. Yeah.
But you got some teams that don't have that, and like for instance, I'm a Braves fan. We don't have that. Right. And you talking about the team in Milwaukee, Kansas City. These are all small market teams. They don't have the same playing field as other teams have, and it's not fair when you can sit out there and give the kind of roster that the Los Angeles Dodgers have. And that should be some rules about that shit too. Kicking the can up the road, paying people 10 years after they don't retire. That's bullshit. Should not be happening.
Bonilla, that's fine. It's only $1 million a year, but it's $1 million every year. He's still getting it. But I agree. I mean, like the A's don't even have, they don't, and neither does Tampa. But that's a weather situation. But like the Minnesota Twins are my American League team. It should be the White Sox, but it's not. And they never have the money. They're never going to be competitive that way. Or Kansas City, they can't do any of that stuff. So. The Cubs could, so maybe good on them that they don't go insane with it. But, it's not like we're a small market team. We have our own TV network, so.
Right.
But the NFL has rules like that in place
Yes.
too.
Oh, I
So
know.
it's like, if you're going to own a team, it's a certain level of money that you expected to spend on your ball club.
Right.
So if you had that in baseball, teams like Oakland, teams like Atlanta, teams like Kansas City, hey, listen, we're going to put the cap back to where you can compete, but you got to be willing to spend money too. If you're vetting everybody that comes in and tries to buy team and own teams, then damn it, you should be able to pay these payrolls. And if you're not, then you're not going to be owning the team. But the Oakland A's, who continues to garner talent and then trade them off for whatever, just so you can continue to suck and rob your fans, and then you go ahead and you move your team to Las Vegas, and you're doing the same damn thing. What are you doing? You're not a farm system for the Dodgers. You're not a farm system for the Yankees. So why the hell do you keep to trade these people off and give these big market teams players and talent just for draft picks, and then you turn around when they get good, they pay out, you trade them off? It's bullshit.
Yeah, or look, Miami's, they don't draw. That's the problem. But they're a big market. But their payroll's pathetic. I mean, I don't know. Is it $60 million? I mean, it's insane. So when the average is 150 or so, in that range, so they're a third of the payroll. They're never going to be competitive, and they develop talent. All those teams, the Rays, the A's, the Marlins, they all develop talent, and then they sell it all off. Yeah, and just kick it down the road. But I don't know. I just griping about the Cubs being able to do some things, and I don't know. Maybe they'll sign him, but probably not. So 1 year rental.
Man, we need to start a baseball podcast.
No, we don't.
So my final thoughts are just basically thank you for watching us. Thank you for the comments. Arthur, you are a fan of today. You got to join us one night, especially if you're going to disagree with Chicago Clarence. But anyway, thank you for watching us. You can subscribe to us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And my final thoughts are, I'm just ready for the draft. I'm ready to see what we're going to do at 10. I predict we're going to trade down, especially if Campbell and Membu are both gone. I don't really love anybody else there at 10. So I'm ready for the draft. Oh, we got a comment. It's probably Arthur. He's laughing at us. Yeah, Arthur. We'll have to do a show Wednesday nights where I know you're shooting pool tonight. I know you're in a pool league. And our boy Chicago Clarence is an avid bowler. We're going to Chicago in June because he qualified for a tournament, amateur tournament. So we'll be up in Chicago supporting him. So Chicago Clarence, how are you doing? You mad, pissed off, angry? Need blood pressure medicine?
There's always something that I'm pissed off about. But you know what? The one thing about it is this. Jalen Johnson came out with a quote today, and he said that hype don't win games.
I agree with that.
Everybody's been talking about Ben Johnson being this master play caller and this offensive genius and what have you. And we have seen over the years with his time in Detroit that he's pretty good at calling plays. That right there is a significant upgrade for us. Because I can't tell you the last time we had a bona fide play caller that knew how to attack defenses and call plays with a purpose instead of just calling plays that make what look good on the drawing board. So I try to temper back my enthusiasm for things. We all Bear fans, we love this team, we want to win, and we're starving for that. But at the same time, all of this stuff has got to make sense. You throwing all this in the pot and you mixing it up. You better produce a meal that I want to eat. Because I am sick and tired of losing. We have said this ad nauseum. We get excited. We discuss all of this stuff on our show. We're talking about who we're going to pick and this, that, and the other. And then when we get down to start playing games, we're getting our asses beat. And sometimes in the most embarrassing fashion. The past year, we invented ways to lose games.
Yeah, we did.
So, it's like Jalen Johnson said, hype don't win games. Oh, forget all the hype. Whatever Ryan Poles' draft board looks like, I hope it makes sense. That's what I want. Make it make sense. And if you are going to pick Tyler Warren at 10, by all means, but make it make sense. We got to win games.
Yeah, we've been the off-season champion now 3 years running as the laughing joke. But we need to be postseason champions. Go ahead, Todd.
I feel better with Warren under Johnson than Eberflus. That just I mean that's
Yeah.
that's a shiny tool that a guy that doesn't know what to do with.
I mean, and you're absolutely right, because I don't think that if we had a competent head coach that we would have won the games that we won. We would have won a lot more games than we did. So a lot can be said about that. But see, the reason how all of that came about is some of the stuff that we have been harping on all the time, the incompetence that we have in our building. Because every last one of us, I think to a man, did not want Eberflus to come back last year.
No.
And we were fearing that what ended up happening could happen if we brought him back. So that's all I'm saying. You now finally seem like that we got competency in our offensive coordinator room. But then we got a hinge that Ben Johnson actually knows how to be a head coach. All of that's got to play in. We know he knows how to call plays, but can you be a head coach? We knew Eberflus knew how to call defensive plays for the most part.
Yeah.
But he sucked as a head coach. He sucked as a decision maker. He was one of the worst, if not the worst head coach in the NFL at challenges. His record stunk because some of the decisions that he made to challenge a play or not challenge a play, it seemed like what end of the spectrum he chose, it was deadly wrong. So all I'm just saying is, like Jalen Johnson said, hype don't win games. I want to win. I am sick and tired of going to the bar and forgetting to pay my tab because I storm off pissed off. Let's have some shows to where we actually talking shit about beating somebody's ass instead of always getting our asses whooped. I mean, let's have some shows and discuss that. And I don't want to always seem like I'm a sourpuss, but damn it, hell, they don't give you nothing to be excited about when Sundays roll around. I mean, our record on Sunday night is horrendous.
Yeah, it is.
Listen, I want to play games that matter. I'm tired of being at the playoffs and we sitting here watching and we talking about what's going to happen in free agency because we have to now turn our attention to what spot we failed out in the draft. I want to win. I'm tired of this.
Yep, trying to go through other people's trash that they can't figure out a way to keep them on their team, right? Let's pick through the guys they want to let walk. I mean, come on.
I mean, I hope the winds of change are blown into the Windy City.
Yep.
I mean, we're doing things differently. I mean, we have about 7 minutes. I mean, we're spending money on a coach. That's something we've never, ever done. I mean, none of us have ever seen them spend $13 million on a head coach in our lifetimes, ever.
Feels like we're a professional franchise now.
No, I mean, it feels like you're making big boy decisions. But another thing that is always stuck in my craw: why the hell we can't get this stadium shit figured out? Why are you now, Kevin Warren, down there at the owners' meetings? Why are you sitting there talking about, where it's down to downtown Chicago and it's down to Arlington Heights? Dude, you own property in Arlington Heights. If you build a building in downtown Chicago, you do not own it. You're going to always have the Parks and Recreation Service of Chicago telling you what to do. And if they want to have a damn concert and you don't, guess what? A concert's happening. Why do you want to put yourself in that situation? You didn't spend all that money on Heights for just to sit there. You need to get that deal done. Plain and simple.
I still think it's the city. The divorce from the city is going to be messy because it's going to be something in the contract. If you void the contract early, you got to pay a fine.
They know that. Write the damn check. You are an NFL franchise. You collect hundreds of $millions just off the TV deal. We ain't even talking about ticket sales. We ain't talking about merchandising. We talking about just your portion of TV money you get in this hundreds of $millions. Write the check. Say goodbye to Chicago. Go out there to Arlington Heights. Build a stadium and start acting like you are a big boy franchise.
Go ahead, Todd.
The only reason you do that is you're trying to get some concession for Arlington Heights to give you something else. Give me this today. I want this concession, or I don't want to pay tax on that, or we're going to need your help. You guys need to help buy us out of the state. Whatever it is, it's just what can I take from them today? That's all.
And you're right though, Tar. But what I'm saying is, if you had competency when all this was being done, all of these discussions would have been done before you bought the damn property.
Look,
you don't spend $118 million just to posture. What the hell? What are we talking about?
They don't have any real leverage because they know that they're going to build on that property, control it all, and they should call their bluff. Look, you already did all this. We know what you're going to do. We're not
We
gonna
own the
do
property,
nothing.
what, 3 years now? We've
Yeah.
been paying taxes on it for
Mhm.
3 years, Todd, and it's just sitting there.
Yeah, I know.
It's just sitting there. Only the Chicago Bears would do stupid shit like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I'm talking about. You spend $118 million out there for that problem, and you start talking about how you want to build a state on, and you don't even have the tax part of it worked out. I mean, how? How do you do that? And then
There's
meanwhile, while you're doing it, you don't pissed off the city, who's now mad because you're about to leave. You know, I mean, come on. Come on.
It's
Talking
time,
about the cart before the horse. I mean, come on.
it's time for them to step up and do it. They've drug it out long enough.
Yeah. So with that, again, everyone, thank you for watching us. Thank you for the comments. Until next time, bear down, everyone.
Fair enough.
Peace.